Here we have another sample 5-paragraph essay. Let's look at the details. The introduction is as you see. We have no topic here. So this is one of the reading comprehension questions in most of the exams. For example, IELTS. You have a text, but you don't have the title of the text. So you have to go through the T statement with blueprint and then determine the topic. Okay. This is one of the questions most of the time you face in the exams, in international exams. So this is missing here. Throughout human history, the physical universe has often presented dangers to explorers. This is actually something quoted from history. Something happened in the past. For example, when primitive humans left their tribal villages to search for food and water, they risked death or injury from dangerous animals. Later, when people sailed the oceans in search of new lands for settlement or trade, many died in terrible storms. Okay, these all are actually some events happened in the past. If you look carefully at this paragraph, I mean the first paragraph, the introduction paragraph, I believe that it is not of a good blueprint, T statement with blueprint. This is one of the big mistakes of this paragraph. So you have to correct it so that it matches your paragraphs, I mean your 5 paragraphs. So here it is actually ambiguous what the blueprint is, what the T statement is. So you have to add something at the end of this paragraph, I believe, so that it goes right to clearly show the message of the text. The first body paragraph says one of the challenges that is unique to space is the fact that space is a vacuum, which is a risk for various reasons. First, as you see, this is a vacuum, I mean the space is vacuum, and it is dangerous for many reasons. And the first reason is this one. The second reason is this one. And finally, we have the third reason. We should back up our statement, our actually main idea, our topic sentence. Okay? First, in a vacuum, there is no atmosphere and therefore no air pressure. Without air pressure, the human body has no oxygen to sustain itself. After a few minutes, without oxygen, a person would lose consciousness and eventually die. Also, here we have the second. In a vacuum, a person's blood will gradually begin to boil. The second reason why vacuum is dangerous for people. Finally, without an atmosphere, the rays of the sun can cause radiation poisoning. We provided 3 reasons here to actually prove that if the outer space is vacuum, then it is dangerous for human being, for explorers. Okay. The second body paragraph tells another thing, another actually aspect of the same story. Another difficulty that is unique to outer space is the presence of meteors and micrometeors. So these are pieces of rock and metal that are left over from the formation of the solar system. Many of these objects travel at very high speeds. Under the Earth's blanket of air, people are usually protected from meteor impacts. However, when you are in space, as is actually in a spacecraft, for example, people and spaceships are vulnerable to collisions with meteors. So they are. So there are odds that you actually collide with this as an astronaut. You might collide with meteors and you might be killed there. or your spacecraft might fall down, might actually crash. It is true that the chance of meteor impact is relatively small, we know that, but this is a probability, not actually necessarily, and it doesn't necessarily happen, but it is a probability. But if even a small micrometeor happens to collide with a spacecraft, it could cause serious damage and at least lead to deaths of astronauts. This is the second reason why astronauts and spacecrafts are in danger. Okay, the first is vacuum, the second is meteors and micrometeors. Okay, and the third reason is the third special challenge involved with the environment of space involves the fact that it is very difficult to find life-sustaining water off the Earth. Lack of water is the third threat to human life, to astronauts' life. Okay, for example, the planet Mercury, which is closest to the sun, is too hot to have water, so space travelers must take water from the land if they want to visit Mercury. A similar situation exists on the planet Venus, second from the sun. This planet is likewise too hot for water to exist. Similarly, the fourth planet, Mars, is too cold and dry. So, actually, space travel is much hard, specifically with regard to actually meeting your water needs. If you want to have enough water, the first planet is difficult, the second is difficult, the fourth is difficult, the fifth is difficult. So which one is easy? None of them. Okay, all these actually come together to show the readers that water is another problem if you're gonna navigate this space, if you are a space navigator, I mean an astronaut. And at the end, we have a conclusion here. There are other difficulties involved with space exploration, but these are three of the most important ones. The first one was vacuum, the second was collision with meteors and micrometeors, and the third was the lack of water. In summary, without adequate air pressure, the unprotected human body may be seriously harmed in a vacuum. The first, actually, restatement of the first part of the blueprint. The second is this. In addition, meteors can threaten human life and damage spacecraft. The second is this. And the third one is, finally, the lack of water in space means that human life may have a difficult time surviving on other planets. This is the third part of the actually blueprint. We have three here. You can put them all together to have all them in one sentence. Okay, I mean you can restate the teach statement here all in one sentence, not in three separate sentences, but this writer preferred to write them in separate sentences. And at the end, you can see, as one can see, the challenges of space travel are rather different from terrestrial dangers. This means that this last sentence is the clincher. And here is a practice, as you see. Read the paragraph, I mean the 5 paragraph, and develop another introductory paragraph if you wish, in accordance with the body and conclusion paragraphs. You see that the introductory paragraph is problematic. In the introduction, let the readers know what the teach statement of a blueprint is. As I stated earlier, The introductory paragraph was problematic. What is a good topic for this essay? There was no topic. And finally, develop an outline for the following paragraph based on the following template. Add and omit, if necessary, parts and subparts, sections and subsections. Yet we don't have topic. You have to have a topic. This is a question most of the time in IELTS, TOEFL, or other exams. The the introduction paragraph, hook, thesis, transition, and the like. And this the first paragraph, the first body paragraph. In total, this is the second paragraph. The third paragraph, which is the second central paragraph or body paragraph. The third paragraph, and the last one, the conclusion. So you have to have this template in front of you and fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks specifically when you're writing, because I believe that genre and abiding by generic rules with respect to vocabulary, selection of vocabulary with respect to putting different cliche words and phrases, with respect to grammatical structure, and very diverse actually aspects of language is very important here. For example, I believe that in your abstract you will not use will, or better to say future tense, when you're writing an abstract for your thesis, or when you're writing an abstract for your thesis, you will never use progressive tenses. For example, am going, is washing, is watching, was watching. We use different tenses, different words, different structures, different cliches in different places, specifically when we are writing something. Because a written text will actually stand a longer time. If you are speaking in front of a group of people, you might make mistake and it fades away. Okay, after maybe half an hour, most people forget your mistake. But when you're making a mistake in a written text, this will last forever. Okay, so you should be careful.